Hello, everybody, and of course, welcome back to another episode of X Talking This with your boy X.
And this.
You already know what to do. If you are on Facebook, please make sure you like and share this broadcast so more people can check us out as well. If you are on our Facebook page, please make sure you go ahead and like our Facebook page so you can go ahead and check us out on there. If you are on YouTube and you are checking us out, please make sure you hit us up with that press on the red subscription button, please. And as well, go ahead and hit that notification bells for shows like this one in the future.
Ding!
And you already know what to do. If you are on Twitter, you are checking us out on Periscope. Please make sure you check us out at X Talking Ish. And you can also check me out at X_Williams81 to check this show out on my personal page. All righty, then Ishmael. Well, looks like the NFL did it once again when it comes to shocking the world, and not just shocking the world. They love doing these type of announcements the day after we do our show. It seems like that for the last 4 weeks now in the offseason, not upset at all because it gives us some content to talk about in the following week. But can y'all just wait till like a Friday maybe? So
I mean, something, 6 man.
Days
a big free agent gonna get signed tomorrow.
Because
just
sometimes,
watch.
Because sometimes you feel like, man, this happened a month ago. In reality, it only happened 6 days ago. Man. So this is a topic, or not just this topic we're going to talk about, of course, Mr. Tyreek Hill, but also other topics that have been transpiring over the last couple of days. We will, of course, going to get into them. But Ish, before we get into these topics, I'm just going to go ahead and talk about the chicken in the room, okay? Let's just go ahead and get it out. Everybody going to talk about the Will Smith slap? Somebody going to bring it up on the comment section today?
Oh, my God. Man, come on, somebody going to talk about Will Smith.
No, so go ahead. No. Somebody just... I'm just saying, go ahead, get the joke out.
Cares
something about a Will Smith slap. You would think that.
I'm not.
It's Tuesday.
I don't have any jokes for it.
So, you sure? So over the next,
I don't have any jokes for it. I'm just gonna leave that one alone.
57 minutes, we ain't gonna see or hear no Will Smith jokes on the show today. That's what you're hearing. That's what you're telling me.
I mean, I'm not gonna throw any out there.
Okay. All right. We shall see. All right. Let's go ahead and get into our first topic. Like I said, Mr. Tyreek Hill made some very shocking news due to, besides the point of getting traded, just the fact that we never heard any rumblings of there being any type of disturbance in the Chief Kingdom, as my Chiefs fan over here, Mr. Ish, would speak on when it comes to what's going in Kansas City. This isn't, Tyreek Hill isn't a wide receiver, and when I'm talking about the dysfunction amongst the locker room and personnel, like a Terrell Owens, like a Randy Moss, like Keyshawn Johnson, certain wide receivers that have these quote unquote diva personalities. Tyreek Hill, he's a little diva. He's a diva a little bit, but at the end of the day, he does his work. He's going to outrun you, of course, and he's a pretty elite wide receiver, we would call in the NFL, correct-ish? So, with that being said, for this trade to happen,
he's top 2
on most people's boards, depending on who you talk to, and for this type of trade to happen in pretty much the prime of his career, it was very shocking. It's something that doesn't happen all the time, but... And this is coming from somebody that plays wide receiver as well, too, is that's saying this. Unfortunately, when it comes to playing wide receiver, you're still expendable. You can go find another one. You can go get another one. Now, you might not be able to get another one that might be able to have the same production as that one you're replacing. But you can always find another good or even great wide receiver. It's hard to find a franchise quarterback for the next 10 to 15 years. So everybody that is not the franchise quarterback becomes expendable. And it's just one of those things that's just a part of today's NFL. We just saw a little over a week ago, Devontae Adams moving from Green Bay to Las Vegas. And we thought that was crazy. Again, probably top one or two, depending on who you asking wide receiver. Then right after that, Tyreek Hill out of nowhere, all WWE pun intended.
It wasn't out of
Gets,
nowhere.
you're correct, and I'm gonna throw it over to you, so you can wrap this, or so you can piggyback, and I want to throw it back to me when you get done, because at first when it happened, it blindsided me, but now that I think about everything that's going on, this is a beautiful match made in heaven for, I think, both sides. So Ish, please go ahead and please let me know how you feel about this, because you are the Kansas City Chiefs fan, and we'll get into the comment section after you get done.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't out of nowhere. Really, I like that you brought up Devontae Adams, because really that's what spawned the whole situation, right? Devontae Adams gets traded from the Green Bay Packers to the Oakland Raiders, and he signs a new 5-year deal, averaging $28 million a year. And at that point, that's when the rumblings kind of started, because Tyreek Hill, like I said, he's top 2 and he's not number 2. Tyreek Hill felt some type of way, like, hey man, I got to get a new deal. He signed a deal. If people will remember, he did sign a deal a couple years back when, like, right after he had the whole child abuse situation going on or whatever. And even when he signed that deal, I said it. I was like, man, the Chiefs got lucky to get him on as little contract as they did at the time, because he was coming off the back of those allegations and all that noise was going on. So I don't think he could rightly demand to reset the market. But after the past couple of years, I think he deserves to demand to reset the market and be one of the top paid, if not the top paid, which he is now, the top paid wide receiver in the league. So once that conversation started going on and the Chiefs decided, hey, we're not gonna pay this guy that money, then yeah, they have been shopping him around. It wasn't out of nowhere. It just wasn't being covered by the major networks. So ESPN didn't get a hold of it until Adam Schefter broke it when it was only 2 teams involved. But in reality, they had been reaching out to more than just those 2 teams. From a Chiefs perspective, it will be good for the Chiefs in the long run. They will be better off in the long run, not necessarily because of production on the field per se, but as far as team makeup and the flexibility of being able to continue to add pieces and keep the team somewhat to the level that they have been the past couple of years. This is definitely going to be good for them. They get a lot of draft picks in return. And I mean, ultimately, when you sign a guy to the kind of contract that Patrick Mahomes is on, you can't feed everybody. Like, let's just be honest. It's one of those things in football when you got a salary cap, you can't feed everybody. And when the quarterback takes up a huge chunk of that money, some people just not going to be able to eat like they should eat. And when you got a top wide receiver like Tyreek Hill is, unfortunately, he's going to be the guy that gets cut. Not necessarily cut, but, we got to get rid of him. Miami, it's a definite upgrade. I like him going to Miami, where they got a young new head coach, an offensive guru, so to speak. The next in the line of offensive gurus that have been hired the past couple of years. Let's see what he's able to do as a head coach. I know that he was, highly touted coming out of San Francisco. A lot of people were talking him up, saying how great he is, how brilliant he is, and all that. Let's pump the brakes and see how he handles being a head coach. But hey, they've gone out and they have brought weapons in for Tua Tagovailoa. Tua, this is your year. If Tua does stinks up the joint again, if he is not very convincing this year, he's gone. He's out of there. It's not even going to be a question. They got Teddy Bridgewater already sitting behind him. If Tua gets off to a slow start, I wouldn't be surprised at all if Teddy ends up coming in sometime in the season, because Tua has shown that he's inconsistent. He doesn't like to, he's not very healthy all the time, not always available. So we're going to have to wait and see how the whole thing goes. I think Tyreek he's going to find life away from Patrick Mahomes to be a little bit harder. I don't know if Tua is going to be able to deliver and present some of the things that Patrick had for him and create with some of the things that Patrick was able to create for him. But hey, he's still going to eat. He's still going to get a chance. He's got a great number 2 there in Jalen Waddle. So Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill, these are 2 burners. That's going to be absolutely amazing. And I just want to address something I saw in the comments real quick about DK Metcalf going to the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm hearing all these rumblings about the Chiefs potentially looking for a star wide receiver or something like that. But let me just ask y'all a question. If they were not willing to pay Tyreek Hill money, unless you're getting a young guy that is a couple years away from a contract extension, how are you going to get a star? Why would you bring a star in? I mean, are you bringing him in for 1 year and one and done? Like, what is going on? I don't know if you're going to invest the kind of draft capital or, the player pieces that you're going to have to invest to bring a guy like a DK Metcalf or Deebo Samuel I'm seeing floated around. I forgot. There was one other name that was being floated around as the Chiefs are looking at bringing the guy in. I just don't see it. I don't see it. DK is going to be due for a contract extension soon. Same with Deebo Samuel. So if you're not willing to pay Tyreek Hill, I don't think they're going to get the kind of money that Tyreek Hill is getting because they don't have that kind of production just yet. But they are definitely trending in the right direction. So again, I'm asking, what money are they giving these guys that are supposedly be brought in? I don't think they're going to bring somebody in. I think they're going to draft it again. And we'll see where it goes from there. I have all the faith in the world in the organization, in the coaching staff, and Patrick Mahomes and the offensive line that they're going to find a way to make it work. It may not look exactly the same as it has looked with Tyreek Hill in there, but they'll find a way to make it work.
Beautifully said. It's beautifully said. And of course, our boy Fracture Waddle on YouTube is saying, "What's good, boys?" The questions that he asks is DK going to Kansas City. He also asks, would you trade away the picks you just got from Miami
not at
for
all.
DK? So
we still need defensive help, man. We still got a lot of holes on the defensive side. Right now, to be honest, I don't see the Chiefs winning the AFC West if they don't add on the defensive side or figure something out over there.
And we'll get to that in a second as well. And let me wrap it up with this one. Fracture Wildland also asks, will Dolphins be the Browns 2.0 with the questions with Tua?
Yes, very much so. They are in that same they're in that same class now with the Browns, where just like last year we were saying, everybody was saying, "Oh, the Browns going to win the AFC North. This is the Browns' year." I don't think it's as serious as that, because I do think with New England in that division performing well, and you got the Bills, they're not necessarily a lock to win the division. People aren't going to be like, "Oh, the Dolphins are a lock to win."
Not at all.
But
it's the Bills' division to lose.
Yeah, it's still the Bills' division to lose. But I think the Dolphins are more so. You got to think there's got to be some bump in production with Tyreek Hill coming in and some of the other changes they've made, right? So you've got to expect that they were on the cusp of the playoffs. They should be in the playoffs this year. Like, it should be playoffs or bust in Miami.
Should have made the playoffs. But here's the thing with Miami,
right.
And should have made the playoffs, not just last year, but the year before that probably. So, again, that's something we'll, of course, get to when the season starts, about our expectations for the Miami Dolphins in this upcoming season. But like I said before, I was going to piggyback off what you were going to say, and everything that you pretty much talked about when it comes to Kansas City's side. I do agree. The thing about this trade, and we talk about this all the time, when it comes to trades, majority of the times, usually one side is going to win over the other.
Right.
Like, that's just unfortunately how trades work. Trades usually don't benefit both parties. Usually it benefits one party over the other because somebody is trying to dump salary, somebody's trying to get rid of somebody that just don't want a locker room no more, somebody's trying to just do whatever and that's why trades work out for whatever organization that's trying to make a trade, right? So with this trade, you can call me crazy, but I feel like this trade is best for both parties.
Yeah, both sides.
Tyreek Hill gets his money. He also gets to be on a team that, and I'm happy that you brought him up, Mr. Mike McDonald is supposedly supposed to be using him in the same type of role that we saw with Deebo Samuel with the 49ers.
Yep.
So if that is the case, we finally get to see Mr. Tyreek Hill not just catching 60-yard bombs from Patrick Mahomes after he's running around in the backyard for 5.5 seconds trying to get rid of the ball. We might see Tyreek Hill have 1,000 yards rushing and maybe 1,000 yards receiving as well this upcoming season. And if that happens, then that opens up the Dolphins' offense for all types of possibilities. And that also means that means that is even more pressure on Tua Tagovailoa to perform, because you should not lose with this type of offense with Tyreek Hill, Mr. Waddle, and also Mike Gesicki. He is a very underrated tight end that gets praised tremendously for his athleticism, and I think he is an underrated tight end. But for this upcoming year, it's on that whole Dolphins offense to show up and show out. For even, again, it's pressure on Tyreek Hill as well, too, to make sure that the contract is justified for you being the type of player that you're supposed to be. Because another thing that's going to be different that he's going to have to adjust to is the weather. The Miami weather. I'm not saying it's Arizona. I'm not saying it's even Houston. But when it's going to be minimum 85 degrees there every day. And Tyreek Hill, we know when it comes to a guy like Tyreek Hill, when it comes to his speed, you're going to be susceptible of cramps. You're going to be susceptible of small tissue types of injuries. So it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out for Tyreek Hill and the Miami Dolphins, because I feel like for both parties, it works if Tyreek Hill is on the field all 17 games, and if the Kansas City Chiefs continue what they do, which is draft pretty good players throughout the draft, and it works for both parties, which is, again, very rare when it comes to a trade. But like I said, it took me a couple of days to really think about it. I said, you know what? This might actually be a pretty good thing for Tyreek Hill, because, again, when I thought about the Dolphins, we all saw the jokes on social media when it comes to Tua doesn't have the arm strength to get it out there for Tyreek Hill
I saw
anyway.
the
So
jokes and everything.
We all saw the jokes. We got it. But when it comes to a guy like Mike McDonald, he has an offense that allows him to make sure that he puts the right pieces in place to be able to utilize their skill set. Now, before we move on to the next topic, one thing I do want to bring up. Go ahead.
No. Real quick, just to comment on what you're bringing up about Mike McDonald, because I really like that you brought up Mike McDonald, and I mean that's one of the key things to this whole trade that makes everybody excited. But one of the things that I do want to I want everybody to keep an eye on is, we were just talking about how the Dolphins, the past 2 years, they probably should have made the playoffs, right? Let's remember that was with a different coach, and that was with a defensive-minded coach. So you're bringing in an offensive guy, and the questions are going to be there. Everybody's excited about the offense. Everybody talking about the offense. They brought a lot of pieces in for the offense. What does that defense look like? Is the defense going to be the same as it was last year?
Now, I'm happy you brought that up, because one thing that Mike McDonald wanted to keep intact was the defense, because it was a top 10 defense over the last couple of years. And that is something Mike McDonald, again, I don't know if he got advice from Kyle Shanahan and Mike Shanahan, his forefathers of the NFL, to make sure that he was able to get the right advice to do the right things. But so far, besides him being a little nerdy, he's doing the right things. He's my kind of guy. I ain't got no problems with him. I just feel like when it comes to the football aspect, we all know, Ish, if you know how to coach football and you know how to play football, people are gonna look bypass whatever type of things that you got going on. You could have tape on the spectacles, and nobody gonna give a damn as long as you're taking us to Super Bowls. So for Mike McDonald, this is a great opportunity for him to be able to grab the Bulls by the horn and ride this Dolphin to a playoff run. Now, again, we're gonna go ahead and move forward, but at the end of the day, when it comes to the Dolphins, they're still looking up to the Bills and maybe even the Patriots. Again, maybe the Patriots, depending on how they play this season.
Depending on what the Patriots look like. You're right.
So this, and also too, if you don't win the division, the AFC as a conference is not a punk. So we'll see. Also, one thing Fracture Warner brought up, which I was going to bring him. I'm happy he brought it up. He said also the Dolphins picked up running back from the 49ers, talking about Raheem Mostert. I think that was a very underrated, great pickup because, again, he comes from the 49ers tree. He's going to be somebody
Exactly.
that's going to be
Been
easy
with
plug
them,
and play.
familiar.
It's not like he's going to come into the Miami Dolphins don't know what he's doing. So I'm excited to see what this Miami Dolphins offense could look like. The unfortunate thing is it could be maybe 13 wins. It could be 7 wins.
Yeah, I
Just
mean, it's gonna
that's
be
how
it's gonna
big
be
of a gap.
interesting. It's a first time head coach. There are a
Yeah.
lot of variables there
Oh yeah.
that we're gonna have to see how they work through some of these kinks. New players, new head coach, a bunch of stuff going on.
Oh yeah, you definitely are correct. And speaking of new, of course, the newest team on the newest upcoming season, HBO Hard Knocks, and also the year after that, they will also be hosting the 2024 NFL
Why?
Draft, of course, in Detroit, Michigan. The Detroit Lions sounds like they got a lot of, for the first time, it's a lot of good press. So, let's actually talk about the Lions in a way because unfortunately, most of the time when we talk about the Lions, usually it's about jokes, right? Usually it's about jokes, and it's unfortunate that we have to jokety joke about the Lions and about a franchise that has done nothing but take a lot of L's. We saw that happen, of course, over the season. And for them to finally get some good news, I'm not talking about the Hard Knocks. I see Ish is very thrilled about this topic. But at least the NFL draft. I'm happy for them. It allows people to come and embrace Detroit and see what Detroit's about. Hopefully, it's nothing too crazy that's going on in Detroit. Hopefully, they can keep it calm over there. But for the most part, on a serious note, I'm happy for the Lions to finally get some good press going. And I'm going to throw it to Ish because he looks thrilled about this topic.
Oh, it's time to talk about the Lions. Yeah, that's exactly how I feel about this season of Hard Knocks coming up. It's gonna be boring. It's gonna be terrible. I'm not watching it. I at least watched maybe 2 episodes of Dallas Cowboys, and they're actually an entertaining team. The Lions, I'm not gonna watch it. I'm sorry. I don't care anything about the Lions organization. I don't want to see anything over there. What do I want to watch? Jared Goff? Why do I even want to watch Jared Goff? Jared Goff do what? Nobody cares. I mean, I don't even know why they gave them Hard Knocks. Then they gave them the draft. Who wants to go to Detroit for the draft? Absolutely zip zero. Nobody at all. Can we just change the topic? No, this is a terrible topic because it's just terrible all around. The NFL should not be granting Detroit anything. They should wait until Detroit actually starts to win some things before they give them anything. They shouldn't give them the Hard Knocks. They shouldn't even put them on primetime football games. They shouldn't play on Monday nights. They shouldn't play on Sunday or Thursday nights. Matter of fact, we should just put them. We should subject only Detroit fans watching Detroit games. Like that should be the key
I ain't
to
mad
the
at that.
Detroit
Though.
Lions.
I ain't mad at
Just
that.
make Detroit fans watch the Detroit Lions.
Said.
Don't make anyone else have to watch them because they are absolutely god awful, terrible, boring.
Unless your team
Nobody
has to play
cares
against the
about
Lions,
them.
right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the Detroit fans and whoever they're playing against, those are the only fans that should ever be subjected to watching this team. Nobody cares about them. Nobody wants to watch them. I don't want to watch them in Hard Knocks. I don't want to watch them in NFL films. I don't want to watch anything about them, to be quite honest. So I was upset when I saw this come through. Then I heard they got the draft, and I was like, well, gosh, golly, I don't want to go to Detroit. Like, if it was somewhere cool, I might say, you know what, let's go ahead and pull up at the draft. But I'm not pulling up at the draft in Detroit. Who want to go there?
Well, don't let my father and the rest of his family know about Detroit.
Yeah, take them off Thanksgiving
is,
too. Thank you for Extra Walnut. Take them off for Thanksgiving as well. We should
that's,
stop having to watch them at
that's
Thanksgiving.
okay.
Tradition, whatever. Get rid of them.
All righty then. Anyway, so I will let the people know that don't know why they are actually on Hard Knocks this season and the way that Hard Knocks does their actual picks of who they decide to be on Hard Knocks every year. So when it comes to picking who's on Hard Knocks, it actually has to be a team that did not make the playoffs the previous year, and usually that has a losing record. So those are the two stipulations. and that's how they go about picking the team that's going Hard Knocks. That's the reason why the Cowboys been on Hard Knocks 3 damn times already. It's not a good thing. Texas, of course, been on the Browns, the Bengals, and so on and so on. The Lions, I agree. Look, it's not a great draw. I'm not too thrilled about it, but from what I hear, apparently everybody's favorite coach that loves biting off kneecaps is very entertaining. So maybe him, and whatever else that's in Hard Knocks would be a great draw that people are going to pay attention to. The reason why I do love Hard Knocks, can I tell you why? Is because every season there's going to be somebody or something that happens that makes Hard Knocks just that much great. And what I mean by that is last season with the Cowboys, of course, everybody saw Tavon Diggs. I want to make sure I say it correct. Tavon Diggs' son out here still in the spotlight from his father when it comes to being a star on that show. He was able to pretty much win the hearts of everybody out there, whoever watched Hard Knocks. So not just him, but players in the past have stolen the spotlight. Of course, my boy Fracture Walnut, his favorite team, the Texans. Mr. Charles James was a great guy on Hard Knocks. When it comes to his socks, you had Vince Wilfork in his overalls in that season.
So there are Jerry Jones poured the salt on the
McGriddle. Exactly. So come on now. So don't act like people don't watch Hard Knocks. Don't act like you're not gonna watch it. That was the
wildest thing I seen on Hard Knocks.
Look, when I saw it, I was just like, "It's no way in hell this man should still be alive right now."
That was the wildest thing I seen on Hard Knocks. I had never seen anybody pour.
So I will say this: by episode three, everybody that's saying they're not gonna watch it because it's the Lions and they're not gonna watch it because of whatever, they will be tuned in by episode 3. Mark my words, because that's what Hard Knocks do. Let me get to the comment section right quick from Fracture Walnut.
Yeah, you
said
right.
17, number 1 pick coming to Motown. Like I said before, and I'm gonna say it again: there will never ever in the NFL be a team that goes winless. It's never going to happen. It shouldn't have happened with the Lions in the first place, but it's never going to happen moving forward. All right. He also says take them and the Cowboys off of Thanksgiving too. Look, I definitely agree when it comes to taking the Cowboys off because nobody really wants to watch the Cowboys on Thanksgiving, and I definitely don't want to watch the Lions, so I agree with you on that. He also says I would rather watch the Jags. Debatable.
I would have loved to have watched the Jags. I would have loved to have watched the Jags.
I'm assuming you want to see the aftermath of the Urban Meyer. That's what you want to see?
Yeah. I mean, it's great storylines. You got the aftermath of Urban Meyer. You got a young quarterback who was supposed to be like the next John Elway, Joe Montana, Peyton Manning. Yeah. And how is he going to respond in his second year? They brought in some pieces. They made a lot of free agent signings. You got Christian Kirk, who just signed a big contract, and everybody looking like, wait, what? This guy? So, I mean, that would be a great storyline to see how he's doing in camp. Like, there are a lot of storylines in Jacksonville that I think I would actually like to see. Whereas in Detroit, let me just ask you this. What has Detroit done in the offseason?
Oh, not a goddamn thing.
Oh, okay. So what storyline are we gonna watch?
First of all, that's not my job to create a storyline for Hard Knocks. That's Hard Knocks' job to create a storyline. So, like I said, by episode 3, you'll be tuned in. And also, let me just read this comment from Fracture Walnut. Like I talked about with the memorable moments, he brought up Shannon Sharp impersonations with the Ravens. Yes, that was of course classic. That whole Ravens year was timeless and epic, and everybody that was on that was crazy. He also says,
my Chiefs had a good. My Chiefs had a good one. My Chiefs had a good one too. There you go.
Talking about what year was that?
Ignoring that?
Oh wait. Was that Priest Holmes in that? I'm trying to remember. Harmon Edwards was the coach. Yeah.
You don't remember?
That wasn't too bad, but it wasn't that memorable compared to the other seasons.
You know the quarterback that used to train us. He had to make chicken shit out of chicken salad out of chicken shit.
KC Printers. You're bringing it back for the one time, huh?
Yeah.
So that's a story one of these days we might have to go back and revisit for the folks that don't know. Man, one thing I will say, growing up in Texas, is we were definitely or I should say, the area we grew up in, Houston, we were very privileged to be able to be around um, athletes that were playing pro, athletes that were going to go play pro, and athletes that came out of nowhere that went on to go play pro. It was just something that you really don't even think about or take notice when you're in the moment, when you are a kid just playing the game of football, until you look back and you're like, damn, I played with this guy, I played against this guy, I trained with this guy, I did this with this guy. It's very just
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
very what's the word? It's a awe. Like, I'm at awe for words, just because this is some of these moments and experiences in your life you take with you forever, especially when you're able to tell your kids and your grandkids about. So I think that's a great thing in life there is. So with that being said, let's go ahead and move on to our next topic on tonight's show. We'll make sure we'll wrap this up pretty quickly. It's just something that I want to speak on a little bit, because we do have a lot of Saints fans out there, especially that's tuning into this show. One very special Saints fan, my beautiful wife. I know she's tuning in, and I wanted to make sure we talk about this because our boy Chad Bowes, he's a big Saints fan, and again, I know there's other Saints fans out there, and I just felt like it was just a very interesting, just a widget that popped up on my phone when it comes to Taysom Hill's going to be focusing more on tight end this upcoming season.
Are you surprised?
The reason why I'm very just head scratching and just not understanding this is because, okay, now everybody stay with me here. I've already brought this up plenty of times before, mainly to Saints fans, that y'all got to understand, like, this upcoming season is going to be a lot different because Mr. Sean Payton is not at the helm anymore. Now, either for the good or for the bad, we all about to find out. Everybody about to find out real soon what the Saints team about to be looking like without Sean Payton. So, with that being said, you do the right things. You re-sign James Winston. Okay, great. You're getting the offense kind of back together. You lose a piece on the offensive line, and you of course already have re-signed Taysom Hill just a couple months prior to the contract that you signed him to. But I don't know about you, Ish, but I felt like moving forward, he was going to be used more as a quarterback, backup wise at least, and then maybe some wide receiver or just something utility wise. But my thing is this: you're shaking your head. I'm assuming you feel indifferent about this, but for him to be played as a tight end, I'm not upset with that. I'm just trying to figure out why the Saints organization just maybe 10 years, a little less than 10 years ago, why you couldn't pay your boy Jimmy Graham wide receiver money when he was a tight end and he was playing at a very high level, and he just wanted to make a little extra dough because he felt like he was used a little bit more than just a tight end. And Taysom Hill's a guy that ain't improved shit to me. I'm just being honest. I mean, just he's played well, but I ain't saying he's a franchise guy. For him to just be able to be moved to tight end, and of course have the contract that you have, it just feels like
He had no choice.
Either play a tight end or get cut. Is that what you're saying?
I mean, pretty much.
All right, so I'll throw it to you right quick then, Ish. Give me your thoughts on this whole move and what we're going to be seeing from the Saints offense, because at the moment I'm pretty lost on what's going to be happening in this upcoming regular season for the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah, so the thing about it is you have to think about it from this standpoint. When Sean Payton decided to step away from the New Orleans Saints, you had to think about, number one, Sean Payton was the biggest supporter of Taysom Hill. He was the reason why Taysom Hill was doing all the slash things that he was doing. So after Taysom Hill's performance this past season, which wasn't that great, let's just be honest. When Jameis Winston went down, a lot of people were looking at that team and they were saying to themselves, Mm, yeah, I don't think Taysom's gonna be the guy moving forward, right? Then Sean decides to step away. So the guy that was backing you, he's now gone. He's no longer there. Not to mention they go and they hire a defensive head coach. This is not an offensive guy that's looking to be creative on the offensive side of the ball or anything. Like this guy probably just telling them, yo, just line up, run an offense, score some points. He's not with all the cute, we're gonna play this guy at quarterback sometimes. None of that. So that for me, the writing was on the wall for Taysom Hill. I already had a feeling like Taysom, if they go out and they get a quarterback, if they were able to get Deshaun Watson or something like that, like Taysom, come on now. You were not going to be switching in with Deshaun Watson. So we knew he was going to be adjusting his position somehow. We just didn't know where he was going. I see Fracture Walnut saying running back. When you got Alvin Kamara, you're not going to put Taysom Hill at running back. I'm sorry. I'm not going to put Taysom Hill out there even for one snap when I can have Alvin Kamara out there. So, no, I'm not going to do that. I think the best fit for him was, even though the wide receiver for them right now is not the deepest position, is like an H back. He's gonna be an H back / tight end. He's gonna just kind of fit in here and there at that spot. They're gonna use him kind of, I think, probably like in an H back slot kind of situation. Not really hand in the ground too much sort of thing. They're calling him a tight end, but let's just be honest. I don't see him lining up at the end of the line of scrimmage a whole bunch with his hand in the ground, blocking some defensive ends and stuff. I think they're going to put him in different spot packages and allow him to move around and do some things. Try to create mismatches is what I'm thinking they're going to do. But yeah, the writing was on the wall, and then they went out and they signed Andy Dalton, and that for sure should have told everybody, if they're bringing in Andy Dalton as the backup to Jameis Winston, oh yeah, Taysom, you are not even in the conversation at that point. So, I mean,
you make sense on that one, sir.
It's been coming. It's been coming. I mean, the writing was there as soon as Sean Payton left. I just think that Taysom, he knows he's gonna have to really. He's like a Tebow. He's Tim Tebow, right? He's Tim Tebow, but a little bit better, more athletic. I would say. So, we'll see what happens with him.
Now, one thing about the Saints is that they did retain their offensive coordinator that was up under Sean Payton, that's Pete Carmichael. So maybe the offense doesn't change as much as we think, right?
Oh, not a lot.
And if that is the case, so if that is the case, then hey, now Jameis has a tight end that is this type of new age tight end in the NFL that knows all the plays, that knows the option game for a tight end, that can be your security blanket, that can help you be better as a quarterback. But here's my thing with Taysom Hill though. I know I don't know. Let's be real. I know Taysom is like, he's big, he's rugged, he's this. But he still don't even match up with some of these these tight ends. Like, I'm not even thinking about like Kelsey and Kittle. Gesicki and even Kyle Pitts. Again, I know he's skinny, but he's still 6'6", 6'7".
And Joku.
Mark Andrews. I mean, I'm just lost right now.
He can't give you a bunch of snaps at tight end. He's just not built to give you a ton of snaps at tight end.
That's why I was confused, because like what you did say, he's not going to have his hand in the dirt playing tight end majority of the times like that. But I do see more 40% of the snaps he will have his hand in the dirt, because he was doing that at the fullback position, at a tight end position. He was already doing that. So again, I don't think that changes as much. But I wouldn't be surprised at all, yes, if he is standing up on the line and he's running routes from the tight end / slot position, right? So I'm confused on what's going to happen with Taysom. Let me finish up with this comment from Fracture Walnut. He says, all I know is he's getting quarterback type money, and Cap can't get a chance. That's that's apple to oranges. I feel you, Fracture, but at the end of the day, let's just be real. Cap don't want to play no more. I love Cap, I do, but Cap don't want to play no more. But we'll talk about that another day. Fracture Walnut also says signing Andy Dalton is another head scratcher. I mean, it was. But at the end of the day, like I said on the show just a couple weeks ago, the NFL is turning into where you will need two good quarterbacks. You really need a decent backup quarterback. Andy Dalton it might not be what he used to be, but he could be a decent quarterback, a decent backup quarterback. So I think that's the reason why the Saints signed him on a year deal. And yeah, I'll be honest with you, I think he retires after this year. I think this is about it. This is the end of the road. No boys the man, pun intended, but that'll do it for Mr. Andy Dalton. All right, then let's go ahead and move along and talk about some of these free agents that are still available at the moment. And we definitely do have a long list, and I went ahead and made sure that I wrote them down for everybody so they can see them tick across the screen. So if you see somebody you like, or if you see somebody you don't even see on here, you're more than welcome to, of course, throw it in the comment section, and we can, of course, talk about these free agents that are still available that you might want to pick up for your team, or some free agents that might fit for a team that you feel, hey, this person is a great fit for said team. With some of these free agents that you might see on the board, are you surprised that some of these guys haven't been picked up yet? Or you feel like, because of what we've seen over the last couple of weeks with some of these dominoes falling, or you feel like some of these guys are waiting on some more of these dominoes to fall before they get their contract? Let me hear your spill on these free agents.
Yeah, I mean, I think in past years, the list and the names on this list, people would be like, "Wait, what? How hasn't this guy been signed yet?" But I think it's part of the nature of the business this past offseason. This offseason has been, um, I think there are definite culture shifts and era era shifts in the NFL, and I think we have started a new era in the NFL, the new era of players getting paid what they deserve, getting guaranteed money, that kind of stuff. And I think based on just what we have seen from the contracts that have been signed earlier in this offseason, or even the contracts that were signed after a player was traded, um, it's just gonna be a lot. You're gonna see more of this. I think you're gonna see more of these players kind of buying their time, finding the right fit, finding the right offer. A lot more of the flip flopping that we saw earlier in all season, where some people they had deals agreed and then they ended up going somewhere else because the guaranteed money was more or something. So I think it's just part of what this new era in the NFL and NFL contracts is bringing. You're not going to see some of these guys who, I mean, they are pretty big names. There are a lot of big names left on this list, and they're just not going to sign just for nickels and dimes anymore. Like, they are going to still want some security in their contract, and I think that's what we're seeing. Not to mention, I do think with the level of competitiveness in the AFC, it is making it a little bit harder, I think, for some people to make decisions on what teams to go to. Because I would just say it like this: last offseason, if we're talking about true contenders to go to the Super Bowl in the AFC on that side,
There's only like
you're
two, maybe three.
yeah, you're really looking at like three teams, right? You were looking at a couple of teams that you were really saying like, okay, the Bills, the Chiefs, we know these teams probably going to end up there. These are the kind of competitive teams we want to go to. This year, I mean, who are you saying is a lock to go to the Super Bowl after what we just saw with the Bengals, right? So now you're kind of sitting here and you got to think, if I want to win a championship and I'm looking at, hey, I want to sign a good contract, but I also want to go to a team that's going to give me a shot to win a championship. Well, on the AFC side, what team are you going to? It's a little bit harder to make that decision.
It's a lot of it.
So I think that's part of it too. And then some players like Sony Michel, I think those kind of players, they're probably going to have to wait for an injury in camp or something like that before they really get spot on, or maybe after the draft, see where some of these young running backs line up and stuff before you see that that kind of thing fall through. Because some of these guys, let's just be honest, they're not necessarily going to be starters. So it's finding the right position and making sure that some of these teams aren't drafting in that position and stuff like that.
So you don't think guys like Stephon Gilmore, Jadeveon Clowney, You know, you don't think
Well,
anybody's
Clowney's
starters anymore?
past 2 years haven't been that great.
He
So
hasn't. He hasn't. But his presence is still, from what I hear around the NFL circles, is still there, which
yeah,
is
I mean, I
surprising
think
to
it's
me.
still there, but it's going to be the right fit, right? Like
Yeah,
he has to go somewhere. I think
where
he has
he's
to go
not, where he
somewhere
doesn't have to be the guy.
where he doesn't have to be the guy. I
Yeah,
agree. He has to go
yeah.
somewhere where he's got a guy across. I
He's
think going back to Cleveland makes a lot of sense for him.
yeah, and that's honestly what I see happening. I don't see him really. I really don't see him going anywhere else. If he does, it'll be like Baltimore. Again, somewhere where he doesn't have to be the guy. Let me get to the comment section right quick from Fracture Water. He asks, "What about Wagner and Campbell going to Kansas City?" I feel like that's, first of all, that's cheating. First of all, second of all, right at the moment, Bobby Wagner's looking for 11 million a year. It seems like the LA Rams really want him at the moment, but they're just not on the same page when it comes to money.
I don't think
So,
anybody's on the same page with him when it comes to that amount of money.
so again, we'll have to see how that plays out. Looks like Wagner is going off of his past success. A lot of teams are looking at what you can do for me now. So that's what it looks like on that one. He also asks, "What about Hicks and Collins to Tennessee?" I mean, we'll see. I'm not.
Does Tennessee
I
need
I will I
Collins
will I will
though?
say this. Can I say something about Collins though? I was if anybody ever want to go back and go look at previous episodes of X Talking Ish, but I stated on one of our preseason shows that Landon Collins was going to be a top 5 safety again in the NFL because of what I saw in preseason, and I got fooled. I got fooled because Landon Collins did not play to his expectation. His ceiling of what I expected him to play. I don't know if it was because it's the Washington Commanders. I don't know if it's because of that. I don't know if it's just because of him not playing, the way, like, just him not playing well anymore. But I don't know where we're gonna get out of Landon Collins. I wouldn't want to touch that right now. Fracture One also says, "I say Sony to Tampa Bay since they lost Rojo to Kansas City," and of course that would be an easy plug and play with Mr. Thomas Brady. That would make a lot of sense as well too. So we'll see how that plays out. A couple of guys I do want to talk about as well is Mr. Stephon Gilmore. I mean, I'm trying to figure this one out because he just adds to the list of Patriots cornerbacks that go off and leave the Patriots system and do not live up to set expectations. Malcolm Butler, the most recent will be Mr. J.C. Jackson going to L.A. It'll be interesting to see how he plays with the Chargers. I think Stephon Gilmore is a good technique type of cornerback that can play mainly balanced wide receivers. But if there's any wide receiver like a Tyreek Hill, like an Odell Beckham Jr., he will have trouble with, which most corners do. But if you want to be the elite, if you want to be that best cornerback, which he had one of the greatest cornerback years when he was with the Patriots, and a lot of people pumped him up. Ever since then, he's not been able to duplicate that. So with Stephon Gilmore, I think with him, it's going to be very interesting to see the fit and the team that he goes to see how he fits with that team, because he can have a bounce back year or he can continue to have that drop in production and us to say,
Well,
maybe he's not as good as what the Patriots system allows him to be.
so you say drop in production, but he hasn't missed the Pro Bowl since 2017, right? So, um,
You know we don't measure no Pro Bowls around here, okay? They give out Pro Bowls like candy, sir. Don't do that. Go look. Okay, how many All Pros does he have, Ish?
Hey! I'm not talking about All Pros right now.
All right.
I'm just talking about the Pro Bowl.
I look at All Pros. X Williams watched this film and he looked at All Pros. I don't give a damn about no lollipop Pro Bowls they give out nowadays. Ryan Tannehill goes to the damn Pro Bowl, okay?
I'm just saying that he's doing okay. The problem I think with Stephon Gilmore and why he's still on the market, his full season last year, I think he was going to be making somewhere around 12 million in the year, 12 million a year, for a guy that at this point, I mean, let's be honest, he's 31. He is kind of in a slight decline. Um, I don't know that I want to pay you 12 a year when I can go out in the draft and probably get a corner and train him up a little bit. He might not be quite at your level yet, but he may be able to get there. And especially if we've got a little bit of time, why not? So I think that's going to be the problem. Who's going to pay him? Is he going to get somewhere in the range of 10 million a year from a team? Maybe. I'm hearing Seattle potentially, but I don't know. We'll have to wait and see with him. I think the market is just kind of iffy right now in the secondary, especially with J.C. Jackson and the deal that he signed. It has definitely kind of thrown things into disarray because a lot of people are going to want to fit somewhere in that new scale with what he signed, and so how do you bring some of these guys back down to a number that you can afford? Well, I think the closer you get to training camp after the draft, the more likely some of these guys are going to budge a little bit on what they're asking for.
No, I definitely agree, especially a guy like Kyle Van Noy. I bring him up because, again, we talked about the Patriots, and from going from being a very vital piece to winning the most recent Super Bowls for the Patriots to getting released by the Patriots and then getting a big deal with the Dolphins, and then just after a year with the Dolphins, getting released from that, going back to the Patriots, and then again getting released. So I don't know what's going on with Mr. Van Noy. I don't know if he just don't love football anymore. Again, I ain't putting no words in his mouth. I don't know him like that. I don't know what's going on with, but it's just it's just crazy to me sometimes, Ish, how quickly we can see these guys perform at a high level for what we think is maybe a 2 or 3 years, but it really has been 5 to 7. And then all of a sudden, like this, they are not even looked at as a starter anymore. So, just looking at Kyle Van Noy, I was still a little surprised that he was still a free agent at the moment. But I think he's one of those guys that maybe the next team that he's on might be his last. Just trending that way. All right, let me get to this last comment from Fractured Walnut as well. He says, I thought the Honey Badger and Gilmore were going to Vegas. I guess that fell through. Yes, so that the Honey Badger going to Vegas, that deal fell through. Word on the street is that it might be the Pittsburgh Steelers. So
Miami.
Just like every other week, like I said, don't be surprised tomorrow morning.
You're gonna hear something tomorrow morning.
And we'll call it here on X Talking Ish first. Tyrann Mathieu goes to Pittsburgh Steelers or maybe the Miami Dolphins. I think Pittsburgh because he fits that culture really well. But if he does go to Dolphins, then hey, it's just more pressure added to it. Talk about it. Alrighty then, let's go ahead and wrap it up tonight with some very interesting news that came out of today's owners meeting, which Ish, again, another topic that he does not look thrilled to talk about it at all, but something that's going to happen in this upcoming NFL postseason. The new overtime rules have been changed, or I should say been modified, to where now each team will be able to possess the ball in overtime, and then after that, so whatever happens, happens. So Ish and I talked about this in our pre-show before we came on. And I pretty much have dubbed this, and I'm pretty sure people have seen this all over, social media or talked about it, whatever like that. But this is pretty much the new Bills rule because the Bills had a problem. Well, everybody except for Josh Allen.
Everybody.
I respect Josh Allen.
Everybody had a problem.
I respect Josh Allen. Said, "Hey, we should have won out of the
he kept it real.
So that's what I'm saying. Everybody except for Josh Allen. He took it like a man, and he said, "Hey, we should have won the game." And with the Bills were the ones, of course, proposing this rule. It was able to get voted on by the owners, and they approved it. And now we have these new rules that have been modified for just the postseason. So everybody remember in the regular season, if a game does go into overtime, these rules do not apply. It's just when you go into the postseason, these rules will apply. So with that being said, Ish, I'll throw it to you. How do you feel about this? And Do you feel like people are going to continue to still cry about overtime rules? And do you feel like this might end up still biting the Bills in the butt at the end of the day?
I mean, yeah, I feel like it's still gonna be like people still gonna cry about something. They're gonna find some reason to complain, right? Like, so okay, they both kick field goals and then it goes to sudden death. That's what it was before. If they both score touchdowns, then it goes to sudden death. That's what it was before. Like, at some point, somebody's not gonna get the chance to get the ball, right? The defense is part of your team. Your defense has to make a stop for you to win, regardless of if you're first or you're second. Like, somebody's gonna have to, like, somebody defense is gonna have to make a stop to win the game, and
Sooner or
then,
later, right?
like, I don't understand. We just gonna complain anyway. People gonna complain because let's say you're the second team, right? Let's say the first team goes down, they score a touchdown. Your team goes down, you score a touchdown. The other team gets the ball back and they kick a field goal. Then you're gonna be like, well, we could have scored a touchdown if we got a second chance. and we're gonna make it mandatory that everybody got to score a touchdown to win the game. Like, then we will come up with something new. Like,
game's gonna be 150 to 148.
Unfortunately, the problem is that people refuse. I know that everybody likes to watch the quarterbacks. Everybody's all about, oh, these quarterbacks, they're so great, and this and that, and so on and so forth. But like you said, I like what Josh Allen said after that game, because for me, the Buffalo Bills are not Josh Allen in the offense. The Buffalo Bills are that entire 53-man roster. That includes their defense. Their defense is part of that team. Their defense has to make a stop to win that game. We saw the very next week, Cincinnati made a stop, and then they went and they won that game. That's how you're supposed to do it, right? Because the team won that game, including the defense. Why are we acting as if we're going to give both these guys a chance? They're going to both go down and score a touchdown. Then the first team's going to go down and kick a field goal. And then y'all going to be crying about the fact that, well, they only kicked the field goal the second time. Why didn't we give the second team a chance again so that they could potentially score a touchdown and win the game? Then it's going to be nonstop. Like, then we might as well just never stop playing, because that is what it has come to. We're going to complain until it gets to a point where, you know, we're just never going to stop playing, so that it's fair enough that everybody has a chance to one up the other person.
You know that they say life is always fair. You know how they say it.
Yeah.
Right?
Apparently, life is always fair because, you know, both quarterbacks have to have a chance to touch the ball.
Got to. Now, look, let's be real. Everybody wanted to, during that game, the Bills and the Chiefs game I'm talking about, everybody wanted to see Josh Allen maybe get one more.
No, I didn't.
Just to see what could
happen. No, I didn't. My team won.
My bad. I'm sorry. Everybody except for Chiefs fans. My apologies to everybody. My point is that I agree with you, okay? You're correct. At the end of the day, football ain't a quarterback sport. Quarterback's a team sport last time I checked, from back when it first started to 2022 right now. So with that being said, I'm not a fan of it because honestly, I feel like this might bite my team in the butt sooner or later on in the day when we play a team in the playoffs.
People gonna really start complaining when their team start losing.
But it's just one of those things where at the end of the day, where I look at not just the NFL, I look at basketball and also look at baseball. Offense sells tickets, defense wins championships, right? So when it comes to scoring more points, yeah, it is sometimes kind of a bad thing, but it also is sometimes a good thing, and it also sells tickets. So with the NFL at the moment right now, hey, they can't do no wrong. So even if they get this wrong, they'll still find a way to fix it later on in the future if they need to. So it'll be interesting. We'll see what happens, and it'll be a test run throughout the postseason, but most likely it'll be implemented in the regular season in 2023. That's my thoughts. Alrighty then. Ish, you have anything to tell the people before we get up out of here?
Boycott Hard Knocks and the Lions being on anything at all.
Here he go. All right. Anything else, Ish?
One hand Danny Dimes for MVP.
You don't even believe that. Alrighty then, everybody. As always, we will see y'all once again next Tuesday, 9 o'clock Central, 10 o'clock Eastern Time, on another off-season edition of X Talking Ish. It's your boy X. Alrighty.
And Ish.
He missed his cue. We'll see y'all.